Thank you, everyone. It is now 7:01. We have returned to open session, and we'll begin with item 4.1, flag salute. And we have Ms. Grace Anaya, a senior at Azusa High School, to lead us in the flag salute. And Ms. Anaya, we have you on Zoom, is that right?
She was having technical difficulties logging in. I don't see her in just yet.
We have just a couple seconds to come back. And if not, we'll proceed with the flag salute and invite her to join us at the next meeting.
She just emailed to notify me that her internet went out on her computer.
Okay, so we will then invite Ms. Anaya to lead our flag salute at our next meeting. If everyone would join me in the flag salute. Thank you very much, everyone. Moving on to item 5.1, approval of final settlement of Office of Administrative Hearing. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
And a second, we'll go for a vote. The item passes unanimously. Moving on to the best part of today, recognitions and awards. Item 6.1, Mr. Ortega.
Thank you, Dr. Bo. Tonight, we're very pleased and honored and excited to be able to recognize Carolina Dominguez, who is a student board member this school year from Gladstone High School. Carolina is not only a student board member, she is in advanced courses. She works for the city. She's a cheerleader. I don't know when she has time to do what she does, but she's an extraordinary young lady. She's also a leader in our student advisory council, and definitely a voice for me when we have things and thinking about things. She brings a really good voice as a student representative, and so we're very thankful for Ms. Dominguez, and we're here just to recognize her.
And Ms. Dominguez, we do have a certificate of appreciation for you. Colleagues, if you could join me in the center to take a photo with Ms. Dominguez along with her family. I always rush through these parts, so I have a post-it, a mental post-it to allow trustees to make any comments recognizing Carolina.
Caroline, I want to thank you for your service. You did a great job. We always take in consideration when we have student board members. It's really important that we hear your input, but thank you for your service.
And I want to echo that. Your board reports and your presence and your voice have been very much noticed, and we appreciate your service and look forward to all the good things to come for you in your future.
Carolina, thank you for being a role model for, the students and the community as a whole, and for all your hard work and your achievement. We appreciate you.
We forgot to mention all-star basketball player.
Oh,
That's right.
All right.
Right. There's Speedy Gonzalez on the court, so yes, yes, yes. Thank you for representing Gladstone High School and Azusa Unified here on the board. Your voice is strong. Keep up the good work, and I'm so proud of everything that you do. And I get your emails, and I love it. You know, blood drive, this, that, like the same thing. It's like, oh my goodness, when does she sleep? You know, but that's good because that means you're not idle and you're active and you're proactive. And we need more Carolinas in this, you know, district, in this world. So Dad, congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
And I just echo all 100% of the sentiments of my colleagues. And so thank you for all that you do.
Board President,
Yes, sir.
if I may, in the same token, I'd like to introduce Ms. Daphne Pineda, who is our student board member from Sierra High School. Also sits on the Student Advisory Council. We got to spend some good time during some trainings over the summer, and really appreciate again Daphne and Daphne's voice and point of view. And so we just want to welcome her. She'll be our student board member in person for the rest of the year.
Welcome.
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 Thank you. We'll move on to item 6.2, Vice President Rodriguez Peña.
Good evening, everyone. I want to ask Alicia French to come up here and Mr. Peter Romero. I think I see him there in the hallway. Okay. Azusa Unified School District Certificate of Recognition is proudly to present Alicia French for donating over $11,000 worth of professional theater costumes, wigs, and props to Gladstone High School theater program. And do you want to bring those up, Miss Elliott? And I want to thank you and Peter. When I met Peter, we were talking about, you know, I just met him also, and he was helping us on the four-way speech with our students. He's a Toastmasters, and he's great. He's did a lot of other things other than Toastmasters. But I want to thank them both for contributing to our drama class. We're going to have a great drama class next year because we're going to combine our two high schools. And for sure, we're going to invite you so you can see your costumes in action. Not only that, Alicia, I was surprised to see her. I went to high school with her. She was Alice Galindo. This girl, a fashionista. I knew she ended up doing something really beautiful like this because she was always dressed beautifully. She had clothes that she made probably her own clothes because I know I couldn't buy them. But I've always known her that way, to be a fantastic woman. And then when I seen her again, I'm like, oh my God, I know her. I went to high school with her. You know, back in the 60s, I won't say when, but around the 60s, right around there, we went to high school together. And Peter, I met him and he's a nice gentleman also. I just met him, but I feel like known him for a long time. And we want to thank you all. If the Board of Education wants to come up and take a picture with us, please.
I have a feeling we'll be getting our steps in today, and that's good. After eating carbs on carbs. Now moving on to item 6.3, recognition of the 22-23 Aspiring Leaders Academy participants, Mr. Ortega.
Thank you, Dr. Bo. I am uber excited today. We had been trying to launch an Aspiring Leaders Academy here in Azusa for a bit, but due to the pandemic and some of the consequences of that, we were not able to launch it until this year. We want to recognize 14 individuals tonight that gave up 4 entire days to come to the district office to collaborate with us, to learn with us, to grow with us, to have a watery eye with us, to laugh with us, but most importantly, to learn with us. Over the course of 4 days, we tried to provide an inside look into the 4 branches, if you will, of a school district, for them to get to know the leaders in those positions, and for them to hear about strategies, about mindsets, about moves that individuals incorporate into their roles. They were very engaged, had great questions, great comments, and we're just very happy that they went on this journey with us. Board President, if the board allows, we do have 2 individuals who would like to share just a few words about their experience in the Leadership Academy.
Absolutely.
Great. If we can begin with Ms. Stephanie Erickson.
Feel old school with paper. Okay. Hello. My name is Stephanie Erickson, and I would first like to say Happy Pi Day to my fellow mathematicians in the world, or in the room, and also watching at home. I myself am a math teacher at Center Middle School and a lover of mathematics. And today is 314 for those of you who don't know. 3.1415926 is the circumference. So on that note, I would like to say a very special thank you to Superintendent Arturo. I knew I was going to do that. Ortega. Aspiring Leaders Academy was his brainchild. I didn't know, I don't know if anybody really knew what we were getting into when we signed up for that thing. I'm not even sure he knew exactly either. But we got into this experience, and it, in fact, his desire to pull back the curtains of each part of the district to all Azusa staff who desired to learn and grow professionally was unheard, which is why I signed up. Each of the 4 sessions reflected the deep-rooted desire to cultivate a multi-level leadership partnership between those in the highest levels of our leadership team and those aspiring for more. Whether that more was a perspective change or a change in title. Our cohort was introduced to the leaders of each of the 4 branches of our district, starting with Superintendent Ortega, followed by Latasha D. Jamal, and next came Norma Camacho and team. And lastly, we had Jorge Renquio. Thank you for sharing a little piece of you with us. Each presentation had its very own style and vibe, from lessons on gratitude to a preacher style breakdown of the inner workings of MOT, to scouring the HR handbook for codes and regulations that did happen. Each member of the district did an amazing job at giving us a look into what they did and how they led the team under them They helped us to see into their roles and let us walk in their shoes. The coolest part of this whole experience by far was the tips and advice that they gave, and the clearest depiction of the intricacies of the district budget was a wonderful moment too. But the most important aspect was when we got to share about our shoes too. Rather, how their shoes affected our shoes. And those moments were powerful and very telling. Our district is experiencing a lot of change. With this much change, as mentioned earlier, there's bound to be big feelings all over the place. In a year where the leadership could have chosen to push the academy off, Superintendent Ortega chose to do the very opposite. They opened up, showed the very best parts of Azusa and the areas still under construction, pulled us in. They helped us grow, and in the process, I think some of them grew too. I am grateful to have had this opportunity to see the other side, to observe in action, to ask questions, learn about myself and how to cultivate change. But most importantly, that we all have the capacity to lead and impact those that are around us on a daily basis. I walked out of Aspiring Leadership Academy desiring to do better and be better. So thank you.
Board President, I would like to now call up Jessica Estrada.
Good evening, Board President Sabrina Bell, members of the board, cabinet. My name is Jessica Estrada. I'm the proud racers teacher at Valleydale Elementary. Go Vikings. So this past school year, there was a really powerful opportunity that was presented to us by Superintendent Ortega. He invited everyone, and by everyone I mean both certificated and classified, to participate in something called Aspiring Leaders Academy. So the opportunity sounded very exciting, and I signed up, actually provided video proof of my interview. And the Aspiring Leaders Academy provided us with an opportunity to just get insight into the different departments. Honestly, it was super exciting. We saw transparency show by each of the departments. We heard from business services, MOT, ed services, as well as human resources. And each of these representatives truly showed their role and how they all work together, and they synergize to fulfill that vision and mission that we're here for, what Azusa Unified is truly about. One of the highlights of the experience was learning about the impact of gratitude in leadership roles. I learned that studies have found that leaders who express appreciation are more influential, more respected, and simply happier. I plan to take all of this experience, which has also kind of sparked the fire within me, to just keep learning and growing as a person and as an educator. Overall, for anyone out there looking and listening, I would highly recommend this opportunity should it come your way next year. I think that it would provide you with a newfound understanding of the intricate ways in which we all have to kind of work together to make this happen and for the betterment of the Azusa community. I completed the process feeling inspired, continuing to serve, wanting to continue to serve, and I would highly recommend this to others. Thank you so much.
President Bo, before I turn it over to you to formally recognize them, I do want to say that this was our first go round. I asked for brutal honesty, and I said I want that honesty for us, right, as leaders, to grow and to be better, but also for the next academy, right, so that they experience something, you know, brighter and better from our first shot. And that's the only way we're going to grow. So thank you for your feedback on that. In addition to certificates, Dr. Bo, we do have a little gift for each member as well.
So Mr. Ortega, shall I call names and have everyone come to the front?
That'd be great.
Colleagues, if we could get some extra hands to hand out certificates and celebratory mug.
Want me to call them up?
Sure.
All right. And then Lika, can you help me out just in case they are online? They may or may not be there. So in alphabetical order, we have Renee Aguirre. Is Renee online, Lika?
She is not online.
Okay. I do see this next person in attendance, Miss Yvonne Boomer. I do see the next person in attendance as well, Miss Lorena Ellis. One of our speakers tonight, Miss Stephanie Erickson. Our second speaker tonight, Jessica Estrada. I do see Lene Jimenez here. Mr. Eddie Lotz. I don't see him, but just want to make sure. Hector Miranda. Lika, is Hector with us online?
No, we do not have Hector online.
Okay, Miss Elizabeth Morales, is she online?
No, we don't have her online either.
Okay, the next person is here, Michelle Rodriguez. Miss Laura Sanchez. Miss Nancy Smith. Miss Mary Turner. And last but not least, Miss Alicia Vargas Smith. Okay, I'll make sure. Yes.
And leaders that we just recognized, if you have a moment, I think some of the board members would like to offer their appreciation for you personally, if you have just a second to stay with that. Board Member Arenas.
I want to thank you guys for taking that leap of faith and opportunity, like what was just shared, that you didn't know what was going to happen. And I think with our leadership right now, we have a very strong leadership, and one that wants to empower our employees. And just to hear you, I almost started to cry, because you said you were saying something about like it makes you, and it sparked a fire within you. I think great leaders do that. Whether there's issues, whether there's problems, right? You work through them. There's no hard feelings. You talk about it. Great leaders inspire others. And I'm grateful. Thank you. superintendent, assistant superintendents, and all of the departments for putting this together, because I think this is just the beginning to empowering all of our staff. So kudos to you. And I can't wait to see that fire spread everywhere, and especially in our students in our community. So thank you guys so much.
Aspiring leaders, thank you again so much for
I
the extra
wanted to
effort.
Make
Oh.
a statement, please. I wanted to make a statement. Is
Yes,
that okay?
sorry.
I want to congratulate all of you for taking the time to further your education and leadership. And thank you. All I want to say.
Ms. Benavides?
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants in the Aspiring Leaders Academy. And I know that from within, there's a growth within that aspired you to want to participate. And I think it's always beautiful to know that even in-house, that you get the support from staff, and that vice versa, right? That the staff also sees that you admire them and that you appreciate them, and that he appreciates you for partaking in this event. And you are the new role models for the next aspiring leaders. So thank you for your time in that.
I just want to say first, thank you to the superintendent and cabinet for this, and for inviting just the leaders within our district to grow, to learn, but also to share. And thank you for your willingness to be transparent, to share not only your perspectives during this time, but also even after, so that it's strengthened even beyond your experience there. So just thank you to everybody.
And aspiring leaders, participants, thank you again for your dedication to do the continued learning and to show us a current example of lifelong learning, and to see that modeled within our ranks of educators and staff members for our students. So thank you again. Thank you. And moving on to item 6.4, approval of resolution 22-23-27, recognizing the week of April 19th as Adult Education Week. Mr. Ronquillo.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bo. This resolution certifies that the district's recognition of the adult education is a vital educational component of the district's overall education goals. Adult education provides family literacy through English language development, basic and secondary literacy skills for transitioning to college or post-secondary training, and industry recognized certificates in high demand job areas in career and technical education. And I thank the Board of Education for taking this time in recognizing our adult education employees.
Thank you, Mr. Ronquillo. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I think that I appreciate Azusa Unified School District for continue our adult education, because I know many adult education schools have closed down, so they have come here. I do visit the adult school and they are very appreciative of it. But now that we're speaking about adult school, they're going to have a career and resource fair on April 27th from 10 to 1 p.m. at the Azusa Adult School. So they're going to have the adult education courses. Local businesses will be there, and for jobs also. And the American Job Center, the Azusa Library Resource, to name a few. So that would be April 27th, 10 to 1 p.m. at the Azusa Adult Education Center on Gladstone. Thank you.
And any further discussion? Right. So Ms. Pineda, for all of our action items before the board takes its formal vote, I will be asking you for your preferential vote. So the item has been moved and seconded. We've now had discussion. So I will ask you for your preferential vote. Do you vote yes or no to approve this resolution?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And board members, we will vote online. And the motion passes unanimously. Moving to item 7.0, public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. Are there members of the public who wish to make public comment in person? We have Mr. Jack Hall. Could come to the podium.
The Honorable Dr. Bo, Superintendent Ortega, and the rest of the board members. My name is Jack Hall. We currently operate a daycare for development or an education center for developmentally disabled adults at Whitcomb High School in Glendora. Glendora School District is changing their plan for that particular school, and they've had to put an end to our lease. We've been with the school district for over 40 years and over 35 years at that location. Currently serve approximately 120 developmentally disabled adults, and we have about 30 to 35 staff that all reside in this area. So we have been over and visited Rendel's School, and there are some modular classrooms on the north end, which would be ideal for us if there would be a possibility of us leasing. We would be happy with it for a 3-year term lease. I know that you have a 7-Eleven committee that's working on the disposition of some of your properties, but because the ROP program is also there, I'm hoping that this particular location won't be sold or disposed of in any way, at least in the short. We're having a lot of difficulty finding a spot that's appropriate for our client. These are individuals that have completed special education programs in your district, and at the age of 22, they transition to a program like ours. We are licensed by the state of California. We are funded by the regional centers. We're funded by the state of California. Been around a long time. So I've brought a list of bullet points and things that we'd like you to take a look at. I will leave this here. We feel that by leasing these classrooms, we could provide an income to the district of in the ballpark of $100,000 a year, possibly a little bit more. And we would be willing to pick up the expense of cleaning up, getting those rooms ready to go, repairing the restrooms there that were damaged by vandals. We'd be willing to pick all that up because we are in a real bind. We need to have an answer in the next couple months. I will speak with Ms. Jamal perhaps next week, and he could give us some input as to I know I'm not doing things correctly, but because of the time frame, we thought we could bring it to the full school board.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. That's your time.
Okay, so I will leave these bullet points here on the podium, and they have our contact.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Tressel is online.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you for letting me know. All right. Good evening, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendents, and board members. My name is Ron Tressel, and I am a teacher and coach at Gladstone High School. I know that I am speaking on behalf of myself this evening, but I would like to point out is that I think that what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is on the mind of most teachers in this district, along with students and parents. Tonight, I would like to talk to you about safety concerns at our schools. In the last 2 weeks, I have had to help break up 2 fights that took place near my classroom. Now, I wasn't the only one that had to get involved to help break up these fights. There were several other teachers that had to be involved, along with security and administrative staff, to help break up these 2 fights over the past 2 weeks. Now, you must be thinking, where was security? The answer is, it is not their fault. We do not have enough security. Administrative staff have to stop what they are doing to get to the scene. Until security and administrative staff can get to the scene, the teachers have to step in to make sure that students are safe. Think about that. It is taking several teachers risking injuries to break up fights because we do not have enough security on our campus. A little over a week ago, 2 students brought a gun on the campus of Azusa High School. I know that the situation was taken care of before any more serious harm could be done. But think about it. What if something more serious happened? The fact that these students were able to bring a firearm on campus is alarming. I really felt that this situation was swept under the rug. Yes, there was a memo that went out from the superintendent about protocols the district is putting in place, and I'm glad that there is something happening on some level. But I am thinking about now. How are we going to keep students and staff safe on our campuses now? I am all in favor of counseling and having an anonymous tip line. But how are we going to decrease the tension now? How are we going to keep teachers from having to break up fights now? How are we going to keep a student from bringing a weapon on campus now? Look, I love teaching. I have a strong passion for it, but my main priority is safety. I always tell my students each year that I will provide a safe classroom for them so that they can constructively learn. A safe environment with protocols in place now keeps students and staff safe. Safety should be your first priority as well. I would like to invite our
Mr.
superintendent.
Trestle, thank you so much for your thoughtful and important comments, but that is time.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have just one last little thing here, okay? I would like to invite our superintendent, assistant superintendents, and board members to come to our campuses and sit down with our teachers to hear their concerns. I wait for your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trestle. Are there any other members of the public who wish to make comment online? Thank you. Moving to item 8.1, comments, reports, and requests by the Board of Education. Board Member Rodriguez Peña, Vice President Rodriguez Peña.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This has been such a beautiful evening. Everyone getting these awards. It's always nice to see that. We haven't seen that for a while, and I think it's really great. So I just want to announce, I went to Paramount Elementary School for Kids Heart Challenge. Students came out and did several activities on the blacktop. The purpose is to keep them moving for a healthy heart. They raised $5,232. And I want to thank 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Christina Ramirez, who spearheaded this event year after year. She started from Monrovia, wrong district, sorry, Mountain View, and she brought it to Paramount, and now it's even bigger. So they had to have 2 assemblies, but it was really great. And then I went to Gladstone High School, full house again, parent night transition to middle school. Principal Perdomo showed a PowerPoint regarding the programs offered at Gladstone Middle School, Abbott College, Career, DLI, Gate, STEM, Studio 26, the Wellbeing Center, Sports, Little League, 6th grade, intramurals. Also, the same day, they had the Gladstone Middle School ribbon cutting ceremony where a new college and career ready lab. They had robotics, intro to computer science, video, home maintenance, to name a few. Gladstone Middle School is beginning to look like the mega middle school that we started from the beginning. We kept saying mega. People kept saying, well, no, other districts they're thinking mega and big. We're thinking mega in programs, bigger programs for our students that are there. Better fields, air-conditioned gym. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? But it's beginning to look just like that mega middle school that we started to speak about. I went to Dr. Seuss Read Across America. I went to several schools, and I always enjoy reading to the students. I went to Magnolia Elementary, National School Breakfast Week. I had breakfast with the parents and the students. It was delicious. It was, it had toast, hash browns, fresh fruit from the farm, and eggs, fruit juice, yogurt with granola. I mean, who eats that, right? When I was in school, I don't remember eating that kind of food, but it was good. And I want to thank the nutrition services, Stella and her staff. They all did a great job. I know there was other schools, but I couldn't jump from all school to school. So I ended up at Magnolia. Gladstone High School. I went to the 2022-23 oratory contest, and I want to congratulate all the students. There was 6 students, 3 from Gladstone and 3 from Azusa High School, and they all did a fantastic job. And I want to thank the Azusa Management Association and Erin Kramer. She was the facilitator. And I like to close in memory of Jose Torres. He was a school board member for 12 years. And also George Romero. He was a classified employee for 28 years. They're both long life residents and they both attended Azusa schools. Thank you.
Board Member Arianes,
I have nothing to report.
Board Member Greer,
Just a few. One, I also want to wish everyone a happy Pi Day. I unfortunately I'm not able to recite any more than 1-4. That's as far as I go. And then also we had just great time. And so thanks for the opportunity to read in a few classrooms for read across America. And final thing is just kudos. I'll speak from a firsthand perspective. Kudos to the preparation and just what's going on with Gladstone Middle School. I come from a unique perspective in that my daughter, who is in 6th grade, will be then in the first class who is attending this mega middle school. And we had an interesting time one afternoon after school where she brought home a paper where she had to choose between her top 3 choices for what electives she would like to take on. And as we sat, there were so many good options that she could choose from that it was very difficult for her to make her choice and whittle it down to top 3. And so it's kind of like no matter what she gets, it's a win for her. And so was very grateful just as a parent for her to have that experience and then know that other students across the district are having that same experience. Just speaks to one small tiny aspect of the planning that's in place and to what our students will have the opportunity to experience this upcoming year. So just want to express my gratitude and excitement for all the work that has gone in and that will continue to go into making what will be a great Gladstone Middle School.
Thank you. Board Member Benavides.
Yes, I would like to just say thank you for putting together the Gladstone Middle School Parent Info Meeting. I, as well as Board Member Pena, attended that and also attended the College and Career Lab ribbon cutting, and it was beautiful. It's great to see, and I'll just echo her words. It is a mega, facility there, and actually that was my first time on campus, and it was just nice. I mean, it was a rainy day, but it was just nice walking in and just being embraced by, there's so many parents there, and it was a great turnout. It was, I really encourage those who didn't get out to try to get out to more events. And I also attended on March 10th, they had another presentation for the parent info meeting for those that weren't able to attend in February. And Principal Perdomo also did a great job at both those meetings. He was very diligent in his presentation. It was a small turnout at Magnolia the other day, but nevertheless, it was great to see that we had a lot of Spanish speaking there. Some great questions came up. And I think we need to get more parent participation. If I could just encourage more parents to get involved. I know there's a lot of working parents, but it's just really an opportunity to really play a role in the community and in the life of your child. So I think those are important things. So I just kind of wanted to share that. And I also wanted to thank the staff for putting that together because I know it's a lot of work and planning that goes into that. And then I also wanted to just share with everyone that I attended the superintendent roundtable that was held on Google the other day. I know Superintendent Ortega is having had two sessions, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. One was in Spanish and one was in English, and this was the first time that he decided to do that. And I think the numbers were pretty well attended. I think the Spanish had 22 and the English had about 55 participants. A lot of great questions came up. There were the two main questions that I saw that were primarily being highlighted was one, their parents had concerns about just really getting to understand or getting a better understanding of the IEP process. There were some different proposals that were put out, maybe doing some workshops, incorporating some, just really bringing it to the community, whether it's an information bulletin, just meeting with the parents, whatever it is, just to be able to inform them as what an IEP is, the process, what it entails. And one of the things that I would like to see because of that is that, and I spoke to Superintendent Ortega already, is the possibility of maybe, because I see there is a need for just the information, maybe doing a small clip, a video about it. Because it is a difficult process to understand because it's in phases, right? So, and I'm too myself, I'm learning. So I've been happening to do a lot of research on it. So I really wanted to really encourage the parents to really reach out and join these roundtables because they're very informative. You learn a lot, and the good questions come up. Another topic that really also came up is school safety. And I just wanted to share with the community that I see and I'm a new board member, but I see the work that the staff is doing internally, and sometimes taking decisions or making these decisions, implementing new protocols, it takes time because of, whether you want to call it a bureaucracy or whatnot, but it just takes time. But there are new things that are in the works, new processes. We are looking at different, employing different methodologies, different tools within here at the school. So it is something that the superintendent, the staff, and the board takes very seriously. And it is one of our top priorities here. So just know that we want the communities to know that we are aware of, and it's not just happening in Azusa, it's happening in the surrounding communities. So we are looking, like I said, at our policies, introducing new equipment to further ensure the school safety for our students, our staff, and our faculty. So I think that was it. Oh, I wanted to say that with the roundtable, one of the things that is really nice is that what I felt or what I feel is that parents feel that they're less intimidating, so they're more prone to ask questions because they're not that we're threatening or anything like that, because Mr. Ortega is very approachable and so is the staff here. But I think that when you do join those parents roundtables online, I think it really does encourage parents to less, feel more comfortable and less intimidated, and they want to ask questions. So I want to thank you for putting those together. I really think that they're really informative, and it really shows that the community is listening, they're watching us, and it's good because we should be accountable, all of us, right? So thank you for that.
Thank you, Board Member Benavides. I wanted to share briefly my experiences over the past couple of weeks. I also had the privilege of reading to two classrooms, one at Hodge and one at Longfellow, for the Read Across America initiative. I also wanted to acknowledge that today, March 14th, is just almost 3 years to the day that schools closed and we got through the pandemic. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the resiliency of our Azusa community, our staff, our teachers, our families, and we're here for those families that were fortunate enough to stay intact and stay healthy. We acknowledge those that we've lost in the past 3 years and also acknowledge those that are here with us today. So I wanted to take a moment to speak that into the record. And with that, I had a great time this morning visiting Murray Elementary and getting to preview the new classroom furniture that will be in all of our classrooms this fall. And to remind our board that it was only 10 months ago that we allocated just over $45 million to our facilities in terms of safety, infrastructure, new roofs, HVAC, playgrounds, and classroom furniture. And so that was just 10 months ago. And so it's very exciting to see and touch new furniture for each of our classroom spaces. And for the Azusa community, there is a small open house tomorrow evening from 4 to 6 p.m. at Murray Elementary School, open to the public to come and sit and see that new classroom furniture. So I hope if you're able to stop by that you will. Moving to item 9.1, comments and reports by student board members, superintendent, and cabinet. Mr. Ortega.
Thank you, Dr. Bo. Want to piggyback on board member Benavides. Just want to say that last Thursday eve. Oh, sure. I'll start with the students. Let's start with the students. You know, Carolina is in person today. Today she's being recognized. So why don't we let Carolina go first?
Is it on? Okay. Hello, everybody. I would like to first start off with Mr. Padoma would like to thank Board Vice President Yolanda Rodriguez Peña, Board Member Sandra Benavides, and Superintendent Ortega, and the rest of the AUSD cabinet for coming out and supporting the ribbon cutting for the College and Career Lab. Congratulations to Benson Manzano for his first place win in the AMA District or Territory contest. Benson went up to compete in the ACTA Region 15 or Territory competition and did a fantastic job. Well done, Benson. Gladstone High School has begun its spring sports competition, and our baseball, softball, track and field, swim, and golf teams are competing very hard against their opponents. Great job, student athlete. Highlights of events coming up. Tuesday, March 14th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Parent Google Workshop number 8, Google Slides Practical Usage, Creating a Presentation. Tuesday, March 21st from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Parent Google Workshop number 9, Research Class Project, Helping Your Child Choose a Career Path. And Tuesday, March 28th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Parent Google Workshop 10, Parent Guardian Ceremony. Thank you.
Daphne?
Okay. Okay. I wanted to start by saying thank you for having me, and I'm happy to be here. So today for Sierra's report, this Friday at 1:45 p.m. in the patio area at Sierra, students will be recognized for their second trimester award. And our softball team has been practicing, and we're ready for our first game tomorrow in San Dimas. They will play again on March 24th in Duarte and March 28th at Gladstone High. All games will be played at 9 in the morning. Last week, 28 students had an early decision orientation with Citrus College. On March 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will host a career day in the multipurpose. Students will have an opportunity to visit different professions and learn about careers they might be interested in. Our parent group has been enjoying their time on Fridays. They have been meeting to discuss a book, and they are reading and have participated in the mental health classes through LACO.
Thank you, Daphne. Lika, do we have Natalie online?
Yes, Natalie is online.
Natalie?
Okay, good evening all. Here's a report for Azusa High School. Azusa High School celebrates the Spring Sports Rally on March 24th. The Aztecs currently have a 5-2 record in softball and a 3-7 record in baseball. Track and field performed well in their first meet against Blair High School and South Hills High School on March 3rd. Azusa seniors have their last chance to do cap and gown in person on March 21st at Azusa High School. The next coffee with the principal is on March 24th, 2023 at 8:45 a.m. in person and 3:45 p.m. virtually. In college news, Azusa High School seniors completed 152 FAFSAs through March 2nd, 2023. 155 Aztecs applied to Citrus, and 35 Aztecs were accepted on the spot for the University of La Verne. On March 30th, ASB is hosting a Chick-fil-A fundraiser to support different classes at Azusa High School. Please come out and support Azusa High School on March 30th. The Aztecs held their annual Sadie's Dance on March 10th, 2023. Students had a relaxing and fun time playing games and dancing. We appreciate the hard work of ASB leadership in setting up this event, and we are looking forward to seeing the next dance. Thank you, that is all.
Thank you, Natalie. So to piggyback on Ms. Benavides's report, we had our superintendent parent roundtable. I do want to just take a moment to say that this is a perfect example of a cycle of continuous improvement, and I want to show my gratitude to the original members of the student of the superintendent parent roundtable that took a chance with me, and we said, let's try something different. And so just want to show my gratitude that they were game to try something different. And I think the benefits have paid off. It was the first time that we do an evening meeting, first time that we do split language meeting, and the feedback was very, very positive. There were over 70 parents that attended. This was not scripted, but I do also like to tell the parents that it's not that we're just listening, like that's one level, right? But that we're actually like really considering what they are sharing. So when board member Benavides had told me about the special ed, I had told her that I already met with Ed Services and say, hey, here's a good idea, right? If they're asking for training, like let's take advantage of that. I just heard Natalie's report, again, not scripted. That came out of the superintendent parent roundtable as well. That hey, we do a coffee with the principal at the high school, and because it's so many things are happening at the high school right now with the merger, like it'd be nice if the high school offered not only in person but virtual coffees with the principal. And I just heard that they are doing that. So I just want to show my appreciation of the parents and their feedback and their voices. Last week, we launched the surplus property committee, 7-Eleven committee. This first meeting was introductory in nature, went over all the logistical pieces, the responsibility, the Brown Act, Robert Rules of Order, let them know their function, that they are advisory in nature. They do not make, they're not a decision-making body. And just want to say congratulations to Vanessa Jones, who was voted in and elected as the committee chairperson. Our next meeting is slated for April 12th, 2023. Also want to give a huge shout out to our Ed Services team and our teachers who are leading the way really in terms of ethnic studies and what we do in ethnic studies. We've reported before that the county has invited us out to the county to present, to say, hey, take a look at how this district is going about this mandate that's going to be coming down from the state. And as a result of that word spreading, we hosted San Gabriel Unified School District here at Azusa High School. They brought students, they brought teachers, they brought administrators to see what we were doing. They actually walked into classrooms and just were really impressed with the approach that we are taking with that. So congratulations again to Ed Services, the teacher leadership in Azusa High School, who's really leading the way in this. And I just want to highlight our very own Lika Juarez and Stella Indahura, who were invited by the state of California to present at their Tuesdays at 2 School Nutrition Town Hall. The state was very interested in the partnership that two seemingly not connected departments came together, communications and nutrition services, to highlight how when you market, you outreach and communicate regarding your school meals, we can get excited about nutrition and the things that we are doing on nutrition. So again, kudos to those two individuals and those two departments for on a state level being able to share what we are doing here in Azusa. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to recognize some of our Azusa Unified students who submitted winning entries into the Duarte Elks Drug Awareness Competition. We had Jaylee Pye from Magnolia Elementary, Denise Almodovar from Ellington, Andrew Galindo from Ellington. Jaylee Pye actually took 3rd place for the San Gabriel Valley with her poster. Additionally, we had Destiny Baca from Foothill Middle School and Alexis Sierra from Foothill Middle School submit winning essays, and congratulations to Alexis Sierra for winning 1st place in the essay contest for the San Gabriel Valley. So congratulations to our students. And also our Mariachi de Azusa performed at Disneyland on March 6th, and they were highlighted on Telemundo. So congratulations to all of the good work that our students are doing.
I have a question on that. Do we have a clip on our website?
So good evening all. First, I want to thank Stella and her team for last week's breakfast. I received positive feedback. One of the ones that is most memorable is from Magnolia when she shared, the principal shared that, it was so simple. Everything was set up. All I had to do was plug my phone and play music. It was nice to hear from the parents how delicious our food is, from the fresh fruit from the farm, from the eggs, from the hash browns. So that was great. And it was nice to see all the kiddos that morning because they looked so cute. Also, I wanted to share that we have rolled into our last school site as far as for installation of our Verkada cameras. Next, we'll be installing cameras at our district office. Once we've completed our installation at Azusa High School, we'll start the training of our administrators on how they can utilize and view all the cameras, as well as all of the sensors that are in the bathroom at our middle schools and high schools. And then lastly, I would like to also invite everyone tomorrow to Murray Elementary in room 22 from the hours of 4 to 6 to come try out our furniture for all of our grade spans from TK to 12th grade, as well as our labs. And we will have a little hors d'oeuvres as well.
And good evening. I'd like to build on the comments of the Board of Education members who talked about the details that are in place for all things school reorganization. As a part of that, we are in the process of addressing the teachers who will be impacted by the school closures. And so on March 23rd, our elementary teachers at sites that are impacted, and these are the elementary sites and also our 6th grade teachers will have an opportunity to choose from available openings for next year. Our secondary teachers also are engaged in the process. Their process is a little different. Their process involves submitting their interest and preference on a Google form that was launched yesterday, and both events, the elementary selection day and the Google Forms, are due on March 23rd. So I've been calling that selection day. So lots of good work is taking place as we move forward in the school reorganization process. I'd like to thank our partners at AEA and CSCA for their constant support and feedback throughout this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10.1, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve consent
Um,
agenda.
Second.
President Bo, I would like to pull item 10.12.
Ten point 12. That's the agreement with WeTip.
Yes.
So Board Member Benavides, are you asking Board Member Arianes to make a amendment to her motion?
Yes, please.
I would like to amend my motion to approve the consent calendar except for 10.12 and to remove it to items pulled from consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
And again, Ms. Pineda, before the board takes its formal vote on any action item, I will be asking you for your preferential vote on this item. How do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Board members will vote online. The motion passes unanimously. That brings us to 11.1. So it brings us to the items pulled from consent agenda. Approval of agreement between AUSD and WeTip. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve 11.1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just on this particular item, because I know there's I wanted just to see if we could get just a brief explanation on WeTip and from staff. But I did want to point out that I did some research on WeTip, and it was interesting to find out that since its inception in 1972, 1.2 million crimes have been reported, 16,000 arrests, and 8,000 convictions. So, and then it also said that according to one survey, 57% of students would not report an incident at the schools unless they knew that it was completely anonymous. So I kind of wanted to bring light to this item because the school safety is a priority for the school district board and the superintendent and staff. And I wanted just to see if we could get a brief, explanation so that we can get a better understanding for the community with regards to WeTip.
Absolutely. So WeTip is an anonymous tip line, similar to the one we have right now. Except again, in a cycle of continuous improvement, this is going to bring some features that we currently do not have in our anonymous tip line. Probably the largest one to us is the ability to text your tip or text whatever it is you want to say. We know that that is a preferred method of communication to a lot of people, and so adding that level of communication is going to be great. In addition to that, there are some other features. For example, you can attach pictures or video. You maybe it's a picture of something that you want us to know. And this one will also have a feature with the consent of the tipster. We can engage in an anonymous manner without ever having to know who it is. We can engage with the tipster if we have like a follow-up question, or can you tell me more about this, or whatever that may be. That is something that we're able to do with this new tip line. So the transit, besides the phone number, because we took the initiative to not use the website of our current tip line, so we use the bit.ly. We're going to be able to continue to use what people are used to right now in terms of the link. And I don't know, Latasha, if I missed anything from there, but this is definitely an improved anonymous tip line that we'll be able to offer to our students, staff, and community.
Can I add something? Yes, I did speak to Mr. Ortega regarding the WeTip line also. And I know that we do have the student ID behind their IDs. It does have the tip line on there. But they're going to put the new one on there, the retip one. But I would like it to also say you could text or call so they know right away. I mean, instead of going out right to pick up the phone and people are uncomfortable doing that they can text right away. So I'd like to have that feature also in the behind the ID card. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Just want to make a comment that I want to thank the staff for really putting some thought into that. And I know that just going through the bidding process, finding out which one is the better vendor that's going to provide the more benefits for the safety of our students and our staff. Thank you.
Just so we can recap, first by Board Member Arianes, second by Vice President Rodriguez Pena.
And Ms. Pineda, your preferential vote on this item?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote online.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. What do you think about the WeTip hotline? Do you have any input on that?
I think it's a good idea because I think more reports about things that teachers have no idea of would be known, because not many people are going to be going to the principal and
Right. And do you feel more comfortable that you can text instead of call or even go to your principal?
yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Vice President Rodriguez Pena. Ms. Pineda, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote online. And the item passes unanimously. Moving to item 12.1, presentation on the Sobrato Early Academic Language Model. Ms. Camacho.
Thank you. I would like to introduce Dr. Krista Fairley, who will be presenting tonight on the Sobrato Early Academic Language.
Thanks. Couldn't remember. Good evening, Dr. Bo, Board of Education, Cabinet, and our community. I get to speak to you twice, last month and this month, about educational services initiatives. And tonight I'm excited to give an update on our Sobrato Early Academic Language, what we call SEAL, framework and model for the work that we're doing here in Azusa. As we ground this work, I want to focus on those words that SEAL is about: joyful, rigorous language and learning, and dual language literacy. Again, joyful. You don't often see that in learning, and learning needs to be joyful. But putting our English learners at the heart of the education system is what SEAL does. So I want to review their mission. That SEAL is driven by a strong belief that schools should create these opportunities for students to grow and succeed. And in California, that means we must prioritize our English learners. And so SEAL's mission is to prepare all learners in California to learn and thrive and lead. The research is very, very clear that when we treat English learners' home language as an asset, not a deficit, and we design learning to meet their needs, our students are going to soar. So the SEAL approach, it's not a program, it's not a thing, it is an approach and a framework for how we teach our students. And so based in the tenets that learning should be joyful, with lots of oral language production, the SEAL approach and framework rests on 11 high-leverage, research-based pedagogical practices that are appropriate for our students. Additionally, the practices rest on those 4 pillars, which focus on, first and foremost, rich, precise language for our students. Additionally, creation of an affirming, positive, and rich school environment for our students. Again, we want to look at those systems and structures and articulation across our systems and our grade levels. And then SEAL is based in strong partnerships in the community with schools, community, parents. So in this next slide here, I love this graphic for the framework as we continue this work. Again, I keep saying it, joyful. Again, that focus in the center of joyful, rigorous learning for our students. And then on the purple ring there, again, are the 4 pillars. But what's important is the implementation as well. And SEAL has a distinct response and structure for how we ensure implementation and sustainability. So it's not just successful because it is a comprehensive whole school program. It encourages district leaders like myself and Mrs. Camacho, principals, teachers, and others to establish systems and practices that support language development, literacy, and engaging and meaningful instruction. Our SEAL TOSAs shared this quote with me: reading and writing float on a sea of talk. SEAL, that's the magic of SEAL. Through intentional strategies to produce oral language and have this emphasis on oral language, it truly accelerates literacy for all. SEAL students demonstrate positive outcomes. In research and studies, there are 4 outcome areas in which students are being more successful. In terms of students' engagement, our educators have observed that students are more joyful and confident and engaged using this framework of instruction. In terms of English language development, most of our ELs enter kindergarten and 1st grade at the beginning levels of English. And by 4th grade, most have had well-developed English skills and many are reclassified. In terms of academic English, reports show that by 4th grade, SEAL ever ELs, that means students who have ever been identified as an English learner in their time in our education system, have outperformed, including RFEPs, have outperformed their peers who are English only. And again, there's the emphasis on biliteracy, that SEAL students in our bilingual programs, which we have 2, and I'll go over that, one of our principals here tonight of those programs, that those students not only improve in their home language, but they continue to make progress on other statewide averages as well. So what does this look like in Azusa? So this is our update. We are in our second year of implementation at 3 elementary school sites, Murray, Valleydale, and Hodge. We also, just in the last month or two, have launched our pre-K TK portion of the SEAL program in all PK TK classrooms in Azusa. Our professional learning is massive. We have launched again for all grades K3 in those 3 schools that I've identified. And our K1 teachers have actually finished modules 1 through 6, and I'll speak to that shortly. They have done so much work, and we have 20 teachers who are highly committed to this work. Our 2nd and 3rd grade teachers are engaged with Module 3 this week, actually. In fact, I sat on their collaboration Module 3 today. And our PKTK modules have finished their launch and also their Module 1 just last week. So we have different, I think the word facets would be, of the program of SEAL. Additionally, there's an emphasis on our dual language immersion schools of Hodge and Valleydale. We have a DLI leadership team comprised of teachers and leaders from both school sites who have attended 4 DLI convenings, where we look at how SEAL and the approach works with our dual language immersion students as well. And additionally, we have a leadership team who works hard and makes time of their own to continue to plan, refine our systems and structures here in dual language immersion, especially as we're bridging to the middle school. So sustainability. Currently, we have 2 teachers on special assignment that provide professional development, work with our SEAL coaches as well to ensure sustainability. We also have a PK/TK coach that provides support. We're able to fund release days and days for teachers to plan the units. These units, it's hard work, but as I like to say, it's heart work because we're making a difference. There will be continued review and refinement of the units each year. Next year, our 4th and 5th grade teachers at Murray, Valleydale, and Hodge will begin this journey. And lastly, we have this amazing program. I'm excited that I'm going to be here this summer since I'm a newbie still. The Summer Bridge program is part of their professional development, where teachers work with SEAL coaches and our Azusa students to really dig into the SEAL approaches and the high leverage practices. I have 15 teachers who have volunteered to sign up for that work already. So SEAL graduation day was February 23rd. And we had, here's a picture of most of our graduates along with their site administrators. It was a special day. There were some tears and just beautiful poetry about the work that they have been doing. So SEAL in action in Azusa. If you walk these schools, you're going to see amazing things. Here's just an example of a 1st grade classroom. You're going to see lots of visuals and opportunities for students to develop language. The first picture is of what we call a drawn label. And if you are able to see up close or you want to visit a classroom, you can see that rich, precise language. The second image is of a narrative input chart where students are able to give language to pictures and create their narratives. And the third, because I've already made it my own chance, I love this chance through singing with high academic language and precise language. Students are practicing language to participate in the real world. So you've heard enough from me. So I'd like to share just 3 brief statements from teachers who are voices from the classroom. This first video is of Carolyn Rivera, a teacher at Hodge Elementary. And if you notice, she has whiskers. This was taken on Halloween, and she gave me permission to use it, but she also wanted you all to know that she doesn't typically wear whiskers to work. While she's pulling up the video, are there any questions that someone might have?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Now I know why my daughter is coming home singing and chanting about cultures and traditions using very precise high-level language.
I have
Because
goosebumps.
she is like, you're learning that in first grade. So it's happening.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
With SEAL, I'm noticing that the students are using a lot more language. Their vocabulary is incredible. Things that we taught in Unit 1, they're continuing to use. For example, I had a student, we were talking about what you can do to be kind. And although that's an ongoing theme all year long, one of the themes in Unit 1 was they need, to be advocates. And I thought that was incredible that our student was still using that strong vocabulary word, understanding what it meant, and using it and knowing that she is an advocate in the classroom, on the playground. So that was just one thing that made me go, wow, this is really powerful. Thinking about all the new vocabulary we're doing with this next unit, the kids are using it. They're making connections in the city, seeing signs out. They're making so many more connections than I would have ever believed. And it's just really impacting their learning.
Thank you.
So
Our
with
next
SEAL, I'm noticing that the students
video
are
is going to be from Maria Manzanares. She is one of our DLI teachers at Valleydale Elementary. She is also part of our DLI leadership team working on refining our systems and structures.
How has SEAL impacted your teaching?
SEAL has reinvigorated my way of teaching. I think as teachers, we always have so much going on that it's easy to lose sight of the strategies that are most helpful and really bring about the most learning for kids. So it's just a nice way to bring it all together. And one thing that I really appreciated about SEAL the most is that it's been the first time that we've taken a closer look at designated EOD and really focused on how to make that time be best used for students. And I'm seeing a benefit for not just my EL learners, but also my English only students that are learning Spanish. It's really a style of teaching that's good for all. I'm excited about seeing the rewards in the future for our kids moving up across the grade levels.
I love how she said reinvigorated and feel that
How
excitement.
has SEAL impacted?
And our last teacher is Miss Belen Pineda, also from Valleydale. She's part of our DLI leadership team, so she attended our DLI convening last week. We were up in San Jose. She hasn't yet been SEAL trained though. So she is just chomping at the bit, getting ready for SEAL. And she just has some final thoughts.
What are you looking forward to as you implement SEAL for the very first time next year?
I'm looking forward to the alignment between grade levels so that when the students come up to me, they already know the strategies that we're using, and then I can take that a step further and create more rigorous lessons with the students.
All right. Thank you so much. We're just really excited to continue to share this journey with you. I'm sure I will be back. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity. If you have any questions.
Any questions from board members? Thank you so much, Dr. Fairley.
Thank you very, very much.
Moving to item 12.2, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve 12.2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to give kudos to this district for taking on the SEAL project and how I'm seeing it flourish from when it started. And I mean, it's just amazing. And I can't wait to, like you said, you had said, one of the teachers said, they already know what they know. And when they come to me, I confer that, like, that's amazing. But I also want to see like the kids that don't get it. What are we doing?
So our goal is to, as we complete implementation at 3 school sites, is then to expand outside of those 3 sites and to be the first district in California that has a district-wide SEAL implementation. So we are excited to embark on this journey.
Thank you, Ms. Camacho and Board Member Arianes. I think our discussion was around 12.2, which is the adoption of the world language textbook. Did you have a discussion on that item?
No, I would want to give kudos.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on 12.2, Ms. Pineda, your vote on this, preferential vote on this item?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote online. And the item passes unanimously. Moving to item 13.1, Mr. Ortega, the Williams Settlement Report.
Thank you, Dr. Bo. This report comes to the Board of Education on a yearly basis. This is just a summary of last year in terms of facilities, teacher assignments, and instructional materials. You will notice that on every item, there were no findings to report. So again, this is just a consolidation of all of those 3 Williams inspections.
Thank you. Any questions by board members? Thank you. And item 13.2, CSBA Delegate Assembly Representatives. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Christina Lucero and Eileen Miranda from West Covina.
I'd like a second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to our student preferential vote.
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote online. The item passes unanimously. Item 13.3, may I have a motion?
I move to approve 13.3.
There a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I did have just a couple questions. Recognizing that this company bought out the previous company that we were contracted with, is there a change in much by way of price from what the previous term was? And was that also a 5-year term previously?
I don't know if the previous term was 5 years or not. Pricing is comparable. But when we were with Blackboard, it wasn't just the website. There was a lot of components that came with it. Some of those components are not part of Final Site. And so there are other contracts for the board to consider regarding, picking up those pieces. We did take a hard look, just to make sure. And we are very excited about Final Site and what they have to offer. Number one, just there's a kick up, I believe, in professionalism in terms of what the websites look like and how they engage and how they move. And then another layer that's really awesome for us is on the user end, the ease of how we can work with the our websites. And when we think about the school sites and the staff that's responsible there, we're very happy about that particular piece. So we're bringing it a little bit early with the hopes that our vision is that when we move into next school year with the school reorganization, and then we have our new websites as well.
And you said that we would be losing some, or there are certain features that are not included in this. Are we then to expect disruption in any of those features, or you're expecting to bring those other contracts forward so that there is no disruption for our community?
That is correct. And again, even with those pieces, so for instance, right now we use Blackboard for our communications. So that's how we communicate with our parents, from absences to, hey, we're having an assembly tomorrow, those kinds of things. We're moving to a product called Parent Square. Is that correct? Parent Square integrates with Aries. So that's going to be an added bonus actually to us, because right now, although Blackboard speaks to Aries, I believe that there's an Active Directory connection with Parent Square that's going to allow, again, just an easier access and use. Just a small example. If I'm a teacher and I'm using Parent Square, this functions like a component of this functions like Class Dojo, Remind, all those apps that are out there. The benefit here is that the teachers won't have to manage that particular app. Right now, if they're using Class Dojo or if they're using Remind, the teacher has to manage that. So they have to enroll the kid, tell the parents this is how you sign up. If a kid moves out, they have to remember to drop the kid. If a kid comes in, they have to remember to enroll them. Because this is with Active Directory, all of that rostering will be almost automatic. I believe it's like on a nightly basis when it speaks to it. All of that work will be taken care of for our staff. And so there's some added benefits to that. But again, there's little things like that, but we feel we're gonna be, as we looked at, oh my gosh, they bought them out. Now what? We feel that we're actually growing and in a better place with the products that we'll have to replace those particular elements.
Any further discussion on this item?
Call the vote.
Ms. Pineda, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote online. And the item passes unanimously. Moving to item 14.1, the second interim financials. Ms. Jamal.
Yes. All right. Good evening, Dr. Bo, members of Board of Education, and fellow members of Cabinet and AUSD community. It is my honor to present to you tonight the district's second interim financial report. Before I begin, I would like to thank Shannon Norris, our Director of Fiscal Services, and her team on the efforts that it took to put this report together. So here's our budget cycle. We are here now in March presenting our second interim. We were presented in front of the Board of Education in December for our first interim. And then next we'll be here after May revise adopting the budget for the 23-24 fiscal year. So the second interim is required per two ed codes, ed code 42130, which requires that we present our financial position 2 times a year, which is the first interim and second interim, as well as ed code 42131. So here we're going to start with our budget assumptions and planning factors. So we're outlining those, our factors are typically your budget factors remain the same from adoption. But what we're doing here is highlighting those changes that were approved since second interim. There was a change in the augment and COLA of just 0.2%. So that is reflected in our financials, as well as the ADA. The amount that we receive per ADA for restricted and unrestricted lottery has increased to $170 per unrestricted and $67 for restricted. All lottery funds are used for instructional materials and instructional services. So here we're looking at our enrollment projection. The difference between first interim and second interim is that our enrollment has been certified through CalPAS through the efforts of our MIS team. We have certified our enrollment for this fiscal year of 6,690 students. Another change that we also have is our ADA of 6021. That is lowered because we have been realizing our ADA factor has dropped from the projection of 95% of ADA to 90. This will not be finalized until the last P2 attendance reporting. So we do have efforts in place that we're working to improve our attendance factor, but right now we wanted to reflect what we're currently seeing as a trend now. But once we close the books after April, if we're hoping that our ADA improves, and then we'll reflect that in our closing reports. We're going to start with our revenue projections. So this is our LCF. The reason why I'm calling this revenue projections, it's because we do have two pots of our LCF funds that are based off of our actual ADA, and it's based off of your current year ADA. That's our supplemental and concentration funds. So we're projected right now to receive $102 million from the state of California for our LCFF funding. Here, we're doing a total comparison of our projected revenue from first interim to second interim. We're projecting an increase of $24 million from that what was projected. That largest increase is coming from the state where we received another grant, one-time money, the ELO. We are grateful for it, so I don't want to sound ungrateful. We also realized the change in the augmented COLA for our supplemental and concentration funds. And we also have our early learning block grant, and as well as the arts and music instructional grant of $4.1 million. Here is just a pie chart to show how our revenue sources come in. We have 57.4% is our LCFF revenue. We received $24.4 million from the state. Typically, it's not that high, but again, we have this grant that was just allocated to us. We received 12.4 from our federal revenues, and 5.7 is our local revenues. Now moving to our expenditures. So we have our total expenditures. We're realizing an increase of $4.6 million. Most is due to when we did our first interim, we did not have our projections for our special education for their 10% raise. So we're accounting for that now that everyone has received it. That is true for both certificated and classified. We also are seeing a change in expenditures from books and supplies to services, and that is just a change in how we're going to be spending some of our ESSER and our COVID funds. So before it was set aside for supplies and materials, and now we'll be utilizing contracting services to spend those funds. And here we're just showing the percentage. We are currently at 63% spending our revenues on our people. Typically, we normally about 80 to 85%, but due to receiving all the one-time funds that actually have restrictions on how we can spend those funds, we are spending more on our contracted services to utilize the one-time COVID funds. Now we're going to go to our multi-year projections. So we continue to remain solvent. We are no longer showing that we are deficit spending in the current year nor the two subsequent out years. We continue to maintain our 3% reserve, as well as maintaining all of our assignments for our supplemental concentration funds, as well as our concentration add-on grants. And here is just a pie chart to show our components of our ending fund balance. So we are projecting right now to end about $17.4 million in unrestricted funds. This pie chart identifies where those funds are allocated. So we have our 3% reserve, our revolving cash, our prepaid. We have our AEA reserve, which will be our last year based off our current bargaining unit, our supplemental and concentration carryover, as well as our concentration add-on grant funds. Moving over to our restricted, we have over 27 million are restricted, and this is the category where the state or the federal government actually outlines what we could spend the funds on. So we have our expanded learning opportunity grant, which was the large pot that we just received since first interim. We have our American Rescue Plan, as well as our art and music grants as our largest, and our learning recovery block grant is our largest funding source that we have in a restricted. All of our restricted categories have already been presented to the Board of Education, where we've already identified our spending plan. Most cross over fiscal year, so we will continue to assign those funds until the expenditures actually materialize. So with that, I'm happy to ask for a recommendation of the Board of Education to accept and receive our second report, continue with a positive certification. And I will be open to any question.
I'll ask for a motion first.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question since the arts, music and instructional materials is up 15%. Is that correct?
Yes, it was 4 million, but there is one caveat. So we've already been told that is once the budget is enacted, I can't speak tonight, that 30% will possibly have to be returned. So we have not slated any expenditures. We did approve a spending plan, but we have not, and none of our expenditures have materialized because of that.
So when will we know how much we can spend and be able to pour into the program?
Sure, we're hoping to know for sure by May revise, but if not, not until the governor signs the budget, which is typically in July. Yeah.
Thank
Welcome.
The only thing I'll add is as we look at these things, want to make sure that I continue to just put in front of us as we look ahead and recognize what our projections for ADA are to look like. Things are certainly looking better for us from a financial standpoint, but want to encourage us to continue to be proactive as we have been, and not wait for an impending cliff, but instead make decisions in real time as we project ahead things that are coming, so that we can stay in the position that we're in, as opposed to find ourselves needing to make emergency decisions later.
Any further discussion? I would like to ask at the next regular board meeting if we can have an agenda item on possible programs for ADA recovery. So we've had, there's a motion that's been seconded. We've had discussion. Ms. Pineda, your professional vote on this matter?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Moving to item 14.2, may I have a motion
Motion to approve 14.2.
and a second? You moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Pineda? Oh, your vote on this matter.
Yes.
Thank you. And board members will vote. And Ms. Neer, I just had a question. In the minutes, are we recording our students' preferential vote in the final minutes? Thank you. And 14.2 passes unanimously. Moving to item 14.3, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve 14.3.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Pineda, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And we'll move to a vote. And the item passes unanimously. 14.4, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve 14.4.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Pineda, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Board members will vote online. The item passes unanimously. Last item for this section 14.5, may I have a motion?
I move to approve 14.5.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just one quick question with this. There was a statement in that talked about this would allow doors to remain locked except for those who have key cards. Does that mean that we will move to having classroom doors in a default locked position during the day, or is this for other doors outside of classroom doors?
That gives us the option to keep our doors locked, and then you can only enter if you have a key card.
In collaboration, I don't know if this is where you were going to go, in collaboration with the lock blocks that were installed, the door can be locked, but with the lock block, it remains accessible. So you can open it. In case of emergency, with a flick, that door then becomes locked.
But if you're inside, you could open it.
And from
Not
the
coming
outside.
in.
No, from the outside as well with the lock block.
So
Not
why do we
engaged,
want
when
to
it's
open
not
the
engaged.
door if they're coming from the outside? Is that the purpose to keep it locked?
That's not the purpose. So, for example, there's a lot of foot traffic in classrooms restroom, pull-out programs. And so a teacher might find it distracting that someone's always knocking on the door. And so they can lock their door, engage the lock block, and so the door feels like it's unlocked because you can open it from the inside, you can open it from the outside. So kids go to the restroom and they come back, they open it, and they go into the room without having to knock. In case of an emergency, though, without having to find my keys or the Allen wrench or whatever that we have to, you don't have to do that because the door is locked.
So that's
Now-
where the safety part comes in.
Correct. And now
Got it.
just with a slide of your finger, the door is locked, and that can be engaged by a student, that can be engaged by an adult.
But does that mean that then when the lock block is engaged while the door is open, that means that the door is slightly ajar?
Yes.
But ever so slightly. I mean, you can't even tell. Like it's not like, you know, like you can see through it. It's like it just ever so slightly. Differential is very small, but yes.
Yeah, because the reason why I bring this up is as we've had conversations, I've heard from a number of teachers who have communicated how if doors were locked without the option of keeping it unlocked, how that could be a disruptive for the class as students are or others are coming in and out of the classroom. So mechanically they would remain locked at all times, or digitally, I'm not even sure which, but we can you engage the lock block as a means of not allowing the lock to engage.
Yes, and then also, let's say in the case of a teacher who chooses not to have their door locked, in a state of emergency, we at the district office or the site administrator, with a click of a button, can make all doors locked.
So I have that option in my classroom. I could say I don't want my door locked, or to engage the lock block, I want it to close all the way but be unlocked. I have that option, and then it can be remotely.
So we
locked.
haven't made a decision on what we're doing for the district, but yes, that is an option.
So do the classrooms have them now?
Classrooms have lock blocks now, but they do not have access control now.
Oh, because I like to see them both when they're functioning.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question. Natasha, can you just kind of go over the highlights of the Verkada? Because I know I was reading on it and I really like the environmental sensor piece. And if you could just kind of elaborate on that for the community, please.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be happy. So from the Board of Education's approval, we started the installation of our cameras, which also has us with analytics where we can view real time, we can zoom in, we could rewind the tape. We had an incident where a car, one of our parents actually was in a car accident, and we were able to zoom in to help with that feed. We can also do it for safety. If we see that there's a loud commotion on a campus, we can zoom into the camera. We can, at a high level and quick speed, say, hey, we need someone to divert to this area. In addition, we installed sensors that detect smoke, vaping in all of our middle schools and high schools. And it actually will just send an alarm, and we can know exactly where where the sensor is going off at, and we can go immediately send deploy staff to that area, and we can assist our students. Not in the restroom, but there are cameras. Yes, ma'am.
And then this particular item here is to add another layer of ricotta in terms of, you know, because one system and we have the cameras now and we have the detectors. This is just another add-on now that would work in conjunction with our camera system as well to also up the safety and security of our schools. I think like one example is like if there's an alarm or something, the cameras would make sure that they're capturing that particular thing because they know that's that door right there. I think that's an example. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's real time. So if, let's say it's a weekend, one of our doors were ajar, we will instantly have a notification. The camera will automatically go right to that area, and then we could see live feed. This also allows us to be able to, in conjunction, to be able to see at all times who went through a door. We're just wondering, hey, something came up missing in Studio room 4, we can actually log in to see every person that walked through that door based off the access control as well as a camera if it's pointing that area.
I really like, there was something I watched a YouTube just to see the product and, the technology behind it. And I really like the fact that the visitor piece where they have visitors coming in and you actually know who's there visually. I mean, and the clarity was really good. So I really give kudos to the staff. I mean, I think the product is, from what I saw, it's great.
Thank you. We want to thank the Board of Education for that approval.
And I just want to ask one last question. So also, are they going to have signage knowing that they are being watched? I mean,
Yes.
like go in the store, right? And it says,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
think that's great because we
Smile
still
when
think
you're on
twice.
candid camera. Yes.
Right. Hey, yeah. You're on Canada camera, right? And you're like, oh, I better not take that.
And how about the safety that there was that we had, what is it, at Glassman High School and Azusa High School, where they had locked all the doors, right? The front door you would have to call in. Do you guys remember that? It was a few months ago, I think. There was a lot of commotion going on. So going into the high schools, for example, I'm a parent of a high school, and I would have to call in if I was coming in. So what are we doing with that? Are we, going to have every parent show their ID, put it through a system? Can you elaborate on that? Is this part of that?
So with our purchase, we do have visitor management, and we have not determined how we're going to utilize it. But yes, that is in the front office of all of our campuses where all visitors can go in. They could, with the simple of scanning their ID badge, it'll identify, it'll alert the front desk of who's here. They'll get an ID badge that prints with their photo, and it'll say like, oh, if I'm going to room 3, it will literally say this person was cleared to go to room 3, which also is an added security. If you see someone on campus, room 3 is over here, but they're in the West Wing, that can spark a question. But yes, we do have that option as well.
Natasha, can you just clarify with Board Member Peña's question regarding signage? Is that going to be signage on the exterior and interior?
It will be signage on the exterior. Once we have cameras in an interior area, we will also have the signage as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? And Ms. Pineda, your vote on this item?
Yes.
Thank you. Board members will vote online. And the item passes unanimously. Moving now to item 16.1 through 16.6. These are all info items. Mr. Ortega, is there anything that we should, that you'd like to point out regarding these items?
So between 16.1 and 16.6, you have amended and new board policy.
Point of order 16.1,
I'm sorry, 16.1 through 16.6.
15.1.
Oh, 15.1.
Oh, because we pulled the item. I'm so sorry.
item.
Yes.
Is that what?
Yes.
When we adopted the agenda.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So the new 15.1 through 15.6, you will find amended board policies, administrative regulations, and exhibits and board bylaws. What you have here on a quarterly basis, we get an update from CSBA that reflect new changes because of new laws, new ed code. And so what you have in front of you is a slate of those that CSBA has recommended in terms of updating and changing.
Are there any questions by board members? Thank you. And before we adjourn with 17.1, Vice President Rodriguez Peña, if you would lead us in our adjournment, including the memorial dedication that you are requesting.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'd like to close in memory of Jose L. Torres and George Romero. They were both employee. Well, one was an employee, one was a school board member, but they both have relatives that are working in our district at this time. So I'd like to close in memory of both of those young men. Thank you.
And Vice President Rodriguez Peña, would you like to move to adjourn?
Yes, I'd like to move to adjourn.
And I'll second. Ms. Pineda, your vote to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you. And board members, this will be our final vote for the evening. And the motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:57 p.m. Thank you so much.